Hello everyone, Sandra here. So in today's video, I want to be talking to anyone who is planning on pulling for Baal's weapon banner, the fact that you might want to hold on and wait for a few news. And here is the exact reason. Baal's C2 is actually way more of a damage increase to her than her weapon. And on top of that, we are going to get, I believe, a fish fork or something for free for patch 2.1 as a weapon on top of that fish claymore. We're getting a fish fork for free, and that one can work on Baal very well. So with both of these added together, I believe that for anyone that is low budget, of course free to play probably cannot do this, but for anyone that is low budget, it is much worse to pull on Baal's C2, try to go for Baal's C2 at least, and then stay with a fish fork, than going for Baal's actual weapon and having a C0 Baal. Now, if you aren't aware already, Baal's C2 was originally her C4. They were trying to make her more friendly towards low-budget spenders, so that's why they swapped her C4 and C2. And now C2 is honestly the only constellation you need for Baal. C6 is nice to have, but C6 doesn't really contribute to her in terms of damage as much in terms of worthiness as C2, because for C2 you only have to go to C2, whereas C6 you have to push past the C3, C4, and C5. And the second thing is regarding her weapon. If you're planning on pulling on the weapon banner, and let's assume the worst case scenario for both. So if you're pulling on the weapon banner, you have to get Baal first, and if you're pulling for Baal C2, you have to get Baal first as well. So we're looking at 3 pities of the weapon banner versus 2 pities of the Baal's banner. So for Baal's banner, if you're pulling for her C2, then you're looking at 180 times 2, which is 360 pulls. Whereas for Baal's weapon banner, you're looking at 80 times 3, which is 240 pulls. I know there's a huge difference, but overall for weapon banner, most people tends to get her around 75 pulls. And on top of, most people tends to get a 5-star around 75 pulls. And on top of that, it is likely that if you're already pulling for C2, that at least you will be able to hit her once without losing the 50-50. And on top of that, it is likely that you will get a gold out very early in the pulling process, so that will save you a ton of primal gems. So with these added, it's actually closer than you think to pull for weapon banner and this, because weapon banner you generally tend not to get what you want, and let's be honest, miHoYo is probably going to be adjusting the rate so that you're not getting what you want. I mean, back in 1.3 they did sort of do this. Staff of Homa versus Wolf's Gravestone, from the, at least a Chinese YouTuber tried to collect within his group of average viewers, and they tried to collect. Overall, the rate was pretty successfully gotten that it was twice likely to get Wolf's Gravestone than Staff of Homa within the weapon banner. When you see a glow and it is a rate up, it's twice likely to get Wolf's Gravestone than Staff of Homa. They might very well do this here. So with that said, for the weapon banner, you might very likely have to spend up towards the upper limit, whereas for C2 you don't necessarily have to spend up towards the upper limit. And because of that, and the C2 basically straight up ignores 60% of defense, which is pretty good. And on top of that, she is, I believe, one of the only 2 characters that ignores defense when playing at a constellation. So with both of these added, and on top of that, we're getting a fish fork R5 for free. With all 3 of these added, I believe that it is very worth for you to, instead of going for the weapon banner, go for Baal C2. Now, of course, this is limited to low budget spenders. If you're a whale, yes, go C6 and have the weapon R5. That is all good to go. And personally for me, this is just to tell you guys, anyone that is deciding between R1 grass cutter versus C2 Baal, then it is better to go for C2 than R1 grass cutter. Now, of course, with this said, that's all I have for you today. Thank you very much for watching. If you want to enter for the Baal giveaway, it is actually linked in the video above. It's my last video, and thank you very much for watching, and have a nice day.